Ayan, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Welcome back sa ating Canon Law 101, ang batas ng simbahan. Welcome, Father Jigs.
Magandang hapon, Father Luciano. Magandang hapon sa lahat po.
Kamusta? Getting ready for Ash Wednesday?
Oo, bukas.
Oo. Kwaresma na bukas.
Kwaresma na, simula na Kwaresma. Hopefully maayos at wala masyadong problema in terms of
Yes, at sa awa ng Diyos, 50%
yes,
50% church capacity. So mas marami ang makapagsimba.
Yeah,
yes, awa ng
sure.
Diyos. Yes, oo. So, yan. Mga kaibigan, ang pag-uusapan natin nandyan na, no? Makikita ninyo sa baba ay hierarchical structure of the church. Ito po yung pangatlong episode, no? Tama ba? We are talking about how authority is exercised, saan nanggaling, paano is exercise, anong struktura ng internal structure of governance within the church. At sinabi po natin, ano ba mga highlights sa sinabi natin? It comes with the sacrament of order. I remember that.
Yeah.
Therefore, it's exercised by the ministers. Yung kaganapan ng priesthood is the bishop. And we explained that it's not the archbishop or cardinal or the pope, but the bishop. So, yung highest expression of priesthood is the bishop and the priests and the deacons. Okay? Ano pa ang napag-usapan natin, what is the College of Bishop, how the bishops work together. Napag-usapan po natin, ano pang napag-usapan natin? College of Cardinals, ano ang trabaho and how they work together, the College of Cardinals. Napag-usapan natin the difference between ordinary bishop and auxiliary bishop. Napag-usapan natin coadjutor bishop. Napag-usapan din po natin the way of choosing the bishops. Okay, napag-usapan natin the process of selection, requirements of a bishop. Yan. Lahat yun ay napag-usapan natin. Kaya mag-share po kayo ngayon itong ating broadcast. Start a watch party, share in your group chat. Kasi ang pag-uusapan natin ngayon is pagdating ng obispo naman. We talk about the Holy Father. So, we will talk about how is the authority exercise in every diocese naman. And finally, hopefully we can get to the last point today, that is, what are the titles na binibigay sa Santo Papa, sa Holy Father, and what do they mean? Why he has so many titles? At ano po ang trabaho ng bawat title na binibigay sa kanya. Okay, so let's review number 10, Father, quickly. Sino ang may pinakamataas na kapangyarihan sa simbahan?
Thank you, Father Luciano. Ito yung tanong kung sino ba talaga may pinakamataas na kapangyarihan sa simbahan. Of course po, pinaliwanag na natin na yung simbahan po ay pinagkatiwala ng Panginoon sa mga alagad, sa mga apostol, na ngayon po ay ating kinakilala sa Samahan ng mga obispo, sa College of Bishops. Sila po ang nagmana noong pagkahabili ng Panginoon sa simbahan. Sa makatwid po, ang supreme power of governance ng simbahan po ay ipinagkatiwala doon sa Cetus Episcoporum. Sa Tagalog po, doon sa Samahan o Kapulungan ng mga Obispo. Ayan. Yan po ay ayon sa Lumen Gentium, ito pong decree regarding church in the world. Kaya po ang kada obispo ay sila po bilang isang samahan na may pinakamataas na kapangyarihan sa simbahan. So this is possessed by the college. Pero po, alam ho natin na ang samahan ng mga obispo po ay pinamumunuan ng Santo Papa. Siya po yung kahalili ni Pedro. At bilang pangunahin po, Siya po ay may katungkulan sa samahan ng mga obispo. Sa mga Katolik po, itong Santo Papa, meron siyang kapangyarihan doon sa or jurisdiction doon sa college na ito. Kaya sa mga Katolik, ito po ay maliban sa College of Bishops, ang supreme authority ay naroon din po sa Santo Papa. So it is possessed both by the College of Bishops and by the head.
Okay, pero that's a very Yes, that's a good explanation for Jigs kasi madalas ang sagot will be who has the highest authority, the Pope. But that's an incomplete answer.
Yes.
So it is the College of Bishops. Now within the College of Bishops, there is a head.
Yes.
And that is the Holy Father.
The Holy Father, the Roman Pontiff.
Kasi otherwise it's a very how would I say, very centralized and personalized pananaw sa power in the church. It's just one person ruling the whole church, and that's not the reality. No,
Yes.
That's not the reality. So maganda pong aral, magandang napulot natin na aral dito na the supreme power is with the College of the Bishops that are the successor to the College of the Apostles, the 12 Apostles. And but within that college, they are all they are all equal, but there is a head. There is one that is a presider in charity. You said, no?
Yes.
Over the others, and this is the Holy Father. So if you want to pinpoint, so the Pope will be the person that has the highest authority in the church. But you cannot understand that authority separated from the College of Bishops.
Correct.
Okay, that's good. Therefore, balikan natin yung tinanong ko, last question yata nung nakaraan. Are the bishops representatives of the Pope in a diocese? Or okay, yeah.
Okay, So ang mga obispo po ay hindi lang po sila kinatawan ng Santo Papa sa diocese. Sila ho talaga yung pinuno, yung puno, yung head ng diocese. O ang tawag ko natin sa batas ay particular churches. So yun po ang ano. So hindi sila under ng Santo Papa. Of course, ang Santo Papa po mayroong jurisdiction bilang pinuno o head ng College of Bishops. Pero not in the sense na sila po ay delegate or sila po ay kaya nga po ang tawag sa kanila po ordinary kasi hindi po delegated ang kanilang power. Hindi rin po vicar sila ng Santo Papa, kundi po ordinary sa kanilang mga diocese.
Oo. So ordinary, ibig sabihin na that naturally belonging to them.
Yes.
Hindi po ito delegated.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, but what kind of authority then do they have in the diocese?
Magandang ating okay. Yung ating pong experience ng simbahan, iba't ibang levels, di ba? Una po, sinasabi natin, yung pamilya, yung pinakamaliit na level ng unit ng simbahan. Dapat po maramdaman natin ba sa simbahan, yung sa pamilya yung simbahan. Pangalawa po yung parokya. Very concretely po, kasi nga meron tayong parish priest, meron tayong misa sa ating mga parokya, doon tayo tumatanggap ng sakramento. But actually po, we belong in a particular way doon sa diocese. Ang tawag po dyan ay simbahan, o people of God, in a particular place or territory. At ito pong simbahan na ito ay pinamumunuan ng obispo. Sa kanya po, siya ho yung ordinaryo, siya po yung pinakamaganda siguro salita yung puno ng simbahan na iyan. So, kung ang buong simbahan po ay pinakatiwala kay Pedro, sa College of Bishops at kay Pedro bilang kanilang ulo, ang bawat dioceses o ang particular church po ay pinakatiwala naman sa obispo. Sa obispo. So, yan. Sabi ng Lumen Gentium, individual bishops are, insofar as they are set over particular churches, exercise their pastoral office over the portion of the people of God assigned to them, but not over the other churches nor the universal church. So, halimbawa po, si Bishop Roby, obispo ng Diocese ng Novaliches, sa kanya po pinakatiwala yung ating diocese. Siya po ang namumuno, yung kanyang kapangyarihan po bilang pastol ay ating mararamdaman sa diocese na ito, pero po hindi sa ibang diocese. Sa diocese ng, halimbawa, diocese ng Cubao, hindi po doon. Kasi meron po din doon obispo, si Bishop Onchionco. Kaya po, minsan, Father Luciano, magandang maintindihan ito kasi napansin natin na kapag merong decree ang Archdiocese of Manila regarding Holy Week observance, Lenten observance, Holy Communion, ginagaya ng ibang mga ibang mga taga-diocese kasi nga cardinal 'yun. Sabi niya ganito, ang paliwanag ko, yung kanilang particular law or norm ay para sa kanila. Kasi at the time si Cardinal Chito Tagle, ang kanilang ordinaryo. Pero sa atin iba din. Meron tayong sarili nating ordinaryo at yun po ay walang iba kundi si Bishop Roby, at the time po si Bishop Tony Tobias.
So halimbawa, sasabihin ng Archdiocese of Manila, pwedeng iuwi ng mga abo sa mga bahay para maglagay kayo ng abo sa bahay. That's a decision of the Archdiocese of Manila for the Archdiocese of Manila. Hindi
Yes.
Hindi because it's Manila, it applies to the whole Metro Manila.
Yes, correct, exactly. Isa pa example nan yung kailan ba luluhod, kailan ba tatayo. Ang iba kasi yung sa pag-ibang diocese nakaluhod. Ayun naman ay may karapatan ng obispo na siyang prerogative to have a particular law or norm regarding certain things na pwede namang magkakaiba. May mga bagay na negotiable, pero may mga bagay po na na nagkakaiba kada iba't ibang diocese.
For example, Father Jigs, recently lumabas ng balita na pinayagan po ng Holy Father maging acolyte, maging lector, officially makatanggap ng ministries ng acolyte and lector ang mga kababaihan. And now, for example, how does affect the relationship between a diocese and the universal church? Pwede ang obispo ng isang diocese magsabi, in my diocese, no.
May mga factors pa din Luciano na na tawag dito na kino-consider o pina-factor in o pinag-iisipan kung pwede. Pero ang pagkakaunawa natin sa ganyan, of course, that's applicable sa lahat ng diocese sa buong mundo. Unless ang Santo Papa ang nagsasabi na ito ay para lang sa Roma. May mga ganun naman eh. So, of course, because naging news yan, it means to say that's really for everybody. Now, in fact, in practice, mapapansin natin, iba't ibang mga simbahan, meron na talagang mga may mga altar servers na mga babae.
Yes.
Parang, so may inalaw, hindi naman yan bago at hindi naman yan tayo strangers sa ganyang bagay. So meron ganyan na. May ibang pare however na parang ang kanilang personal na opinion hindi po pwede. Ang sabi nila kasi ito narinig ko sa isang pare, ang paliwanag niya ganito. Kasi ito yung seedbed ng bokasyon sa pagkapare, kaya dapat dating mga lalaki lang para ma-cultivate natin yung bokasyon sa pagpapare sa pamamagitan ng altar server. But the point is, ngayon, really, it's open to both the girls, boys and girls, yung ministry na yan. So, pwede ba ang isang obispo i-refuse? Siguro kung meron siyang urgent reason for saying that, no? So, hindi naman sila sabi ng Santo Papa, kailangan gawin ito lag sa lahat ng panahon. Ito dapat gano'n. This is binding.
Another example, Father, no, para to discuss anong ugnayan ng mga obispo sa isa't isa. if it's not under the Holy Father, no? For example, let's say may diocese in the Philippines na nagdesisyon ng obispo, all the priests will have to celebrate the Mass ad orientem kung tawagin, yung nakatalikod, no? So that's a decision of the bishop. How does it play with the decision of the other bishops? Is he bound by the collective kung ano nangyari in the whole country? Does he need a permission from Rome to do that, or it's a thing that bilang obispo siya po ang bahala doon? He has the authority to do it in his diocese.
There is I think a motu proprio on the matter, no, regarding yung extraordinary form ng celebration ng Holy Eucharist, no. Ito nga ad orientem, at meron ding ordinary form yung Novus Ordo, yung bagong ordo na nating ginagawa in the vernacular, etc. Ngayon po, hindi naman sa pagkakaalam ko, Father Luciano, hindi kailangan ng pare, no? Actually, ng pare ng permission ng kanyang obispo, ng ordinary niya, to celebrate an ad orientem mass. Not unlike before, before yata parang kailangan mo ng permiso sa obispo mo. Mag-celebrate ka ng the traditional Latin mass or ad orientem mass, no? In fact, meron pa rin distinctions 'yon. Pero ngayon po, as long as there are certain conditions that are being complied with, no, so pwede ka nang mag-celebrate ng ad orientem mass or tridentine mass, no, kasi meron naman talagang mga faithful na yan ang kanilang preference. Once in a while, it is also good to have it done sa mga parokya kung meron talagang let's say demand for it, no, talagang may ganon. Pero it doesn't, dapat hindi to in the spirit of ito lang yung valid at yan ay hindi. So walang ganon. It's very clear na there are two forms, ordinary form at extraordinary forms. Ngayon, kung ang isang obispo po ay magdeklara sa kanyang diocese na ang lahat ng misa rito ay puro lang tridentine ad orientem masses, as a bishop, by law, meron naman talaga siyang power to do that. But on the other hand, what happens now to the ordinary form? Baka naman yung extraordinary ang preferred over the ordinary form, which is commonly in use right now. So dapat mabalansyado din. Now, on the part of other bishops, I'm sure they do respect, no, the decisions that each and every bishop makes for his diocese. Parang wala namang hindi naman siya pwedeng manghimasok, hindi naman siya pwedeng makialam, igagalang din niya. Parang lang yan, parang sa ating mga kura-paroko, kapag ang patakaran hanggat hindi labag sa batas o hanggat hindi labag sa diocesan statutes o isang ginagawa ng isang pare, at iba yung sa ginagawa ng pare sa kabilang parokya, medyo nagagalangan na lang yon. Kasi probably may valid reason, may dahilan kung bakit yun ang practice. Pero kung lalahatin mo ang lahat ng bagay, yun lang magkakaroon ng parang diferensya. So wala naman talagang, so universally speaking,
so in other words, hindi niya kailangan magpaalam sa mga ibang obispo?
Hindi. Kasi karapatan niya sa kanyang diocese. So, siya talaga ang dyan.
Hindi rin kailangan magpaalam sa Holy Father?
Hindi, oo. We're talking of the ad orientem masses and the So, na yan. Ngayon, of course, nasabi nga natin, yung bawat obispo po ay pinagkatiwalaan ng kanilang mga diocese. Bagamat sila po ay may kanilang diocese, sila po ay nagkakaisa. Meron silang communion or communio, pagkakaisa bilang mga head ng iba't ibang mga particular churches.
For example, ito may question dito, si Ruth. Ask ko lang po, yung pag-celebrate ng Mass ngayon sa particular house, sa private house, depende din po ba sa diocese?
Actually yung konsepto na talaga ng misa po communal. ang pangunahing pagkakaunawa diyan, every time we celebrate the Mass, there is a community, unless it's a priest celebrating a Mass privately. But even then, he does it in the name of the church and with the universal church. There are occasions po na this is allowed, like for instance, may patay, no? May burol sa bahay, and as long as yung pong lugar ay conducive for celebrating the sacred mystery of the Mass, hindi siya maingay, walang nagpapalakad-lakad at patakbo-takbo. We hold masses in home at homes kapag may funeral. But this is more of a diocesan regulation. So regarding masses sa mga bahay po, meron pong iba't ibang regulasyon ng bawat diocese. Kasi keeping in mind po na ang misa talaga ay pamayanan. Also considering also some certain needs, no? Like for instance, yung mga may sakit sa kanilang bahay po na gustong tumanggap, bedridden na, tapos there's an urgent reason for doing it. So ito po ay iba't ibang what do you call this, regulation about diocese. However po, hindi talaga regular yun na parang ang isang bahay pinupuntahan ng pare para misahan on a regular basis. So, yung ganong klaseng privilege po ay dapat ipinagpapalam sa obispo.
Father Jigs, ano ang limitasyon sa isang obispo sa kanyang authority para hindi siya maging independent? No? Halimbawa, pwedeng sabihin, sa diocese ko, mag-ordain ako ng babae, sa diocese ko ay hindi na tatanggalin natin yung sakramento ng kumpil. So, what is the parameter where the bishops, okay, hanggang dito ka lang pwede, hindi mo pwedeng, it's not that you have a certain autonomy, it doesn't mean that you are independent as in the church. How does it?
That's a good question. Alam niyo po, may tatlong marks ng full communion po. Una, yung faith, governance, and then the sacraments. Sa ganung tatlong bagay na po tayo pare-pareho. And that is the mark of full communion. Ang obispo po, bagamat he presides over his particular church, no? Hindi po nangangahulugan na siya po ay mag-iiba kasi mawawala yung isa sa tatlong bagay na yun, di ba? Yung credo, yung pananampalataya, yung governance po, yung whatever laws we have regarding certain matters in the church, at yung pong sakramento. So, definitely, those are the bounds. No? Ito yung mga sukatan ng pagiging, ng kapangyarihan ng isang obispo. At din po masasabi din na sa diocese po, in the particular church, exists the one Holy Catholic and Apostolic Church. Ibig sabihin po, hindi siya naiiba sa katawan, yung sa buong katawan. So yung diocese po hindi naiiba sa buong sa paniniwala ng pangkalahatan. So yun ang limitation ng ano. Otherwise, magiging ibang sekta ka na. Halimbawa, hindi ka naman niniwala sa Papa, ibang sekta ka na. You do not recognize the Pope as the head of the body, no, of the universal hindi ka na kasama sa communion. Magiging kakaiba ka na o hiwalay ka na. So to maintain yung communion, you have to maintain yung tatlong bagay na yun. So yung credo, yung ating sampalataya, hindi mo maaaring sabihin iba na aming paniniwala. We will declare that we don't believe anymore in the Trinity. Hindi ba pwede yun? Okay. Kasi mawawala ka sa communion. Pangalawa, in terms of sacraments, no? Ayoko na ng 7, gagawin ko siyang 10 kasi may ibang mga bagay na nagdadagdag ako. Governance naman, kung may mga patakaran, ayokong sundin yan kasi gusto ko iba sa amin. So, pwede ako In fact, to guarantee, no, yung ating communion, yung ating full communion, for instance, no, maliwanag na ipinagbabawal at this is even in canon law na ordaining women ordination for women is punishable, no, by it's one of the grievous graviola delicta, the more grievous crimes in the church. So, excommunicado.
Even isa sa mga cause of excommunication in many bishops is in the history of the church is kapag nagdesisyon sila mag-ordain ng obispo.
Yes, nang walang mandate.
No?
Oo.
They don't have the authority to choose and ordain on their own without the mandate from the Holy See.
Yeah, they have to have the kaya nga Padre Luciano sa ordination ng obispo, ang pinakaunang pinapakita yung papal mandate. Itataas 'yon para makita ng lahat. We have the mandate. Kasi that's a juridical act, no, that makes the ordination not only valid but also licit. And also kailangan diyan merong isang consecrator tsaka dalawang co-consecrators para hindi pwedeng isang bispo lang unilaterally gagawin yung act na yon. So kailangan dalawa. Pangalawa pa kailangan ng mandate from the Holy Father for ordination of for consecration of a bishop. So yan.
Okay. There is a question here from Ana. Sabi niya, Father, pwede po kaya maging mandatory ang Latin Mass in every parish at least once a week or during Sunday Mass ay makapaglaan ng Latin Mass? Can it be, let's say from the canonical point of view, then from the pastoral point of view, is it possible to make it mandatory in all the parishes?
I don't think it can be done that way. Hindi mo pwedeng pilitin na lahat kayo mag-Latin Mass na once a week, once every Sunday. So, kasi remember po, this is the extraordinary form. Kapag meron, pwede naman. Pero hindi pwedeng gawing mandatory, no? Kapag may need to do it, pag may need to do it. Kasi it will merong ganyang experience kasi na parang yung mga tao nag-start mag-practice ng Latin Mass or Tridentine Mass sa kanilang parokya because that's a preference ng pare. Now, siyempre yung mga tao talagang sa pare, respeto, galang, o di nagsisimba sila. But once he left, nawala na rin yung mga tao. Not because ayaw ng kasunod, but then talagang sasabi nila na wala silang choice kasi yung mass na yon kung saan sila nagsisimba ay naging Latin Mass na. So parang gano'n Padre Luciano. I think while it can be done, no, at any time pag may merong need, merong community na nangangailangan ng gano'n o yun ang kanilang preference, we cannot say na let's do it mandatorily sa lahat ng parokya.
Yes.
Oo.
Yes, number one, no, kasi not all the priests know how to. You need to study Latin in order to say it properly, and also to study the liturgical form to do it properly. So not all priests are trained to say the Mass in Latin, and not all parishes have like. If I put a Latin Mass and I will have 5 persons only coming to Mass, that's not a pastoral need. No?
Okay, correct.
So therefore, yung group. There is a question. I was about to ask this question. Yes, sabihin mo yun, sasabihin mo muna, Father.
I like yung sinasabi mo yung pastoral need.
Yes.
But the pastoral need is not the pastor, the parish priest, but the need of the people. So mahalaga na i-consider yan kasi yun naman ang basehan ng ating pagkilos sa parokya. Ano yung kailangan ng tao?
Correct. Ang question ni Jomil, I was about to ask this. Tanging ko lang po, anong kaibahan ng Latin Mass sa ating simbahan at ng Latin Mass sa SSPX at Sede Vacantes? My question I wanted to ask also, there are some priests, I'm not sure if there are some bishops, I suspect there are, that they consider sede vacante. So they so disagree with Pope Francis that they consider that he's not the Pope, and therefore that since Pope Benedict resigned and he's not the Pope, so there is no Pope. That's the meaning of sede vacante. That that the authority of the Holy Father is it's taken over by an impostor, parang ganon. So if a person has that pananaw, and if you are a bishop, can you exercise your ministry as a bishop? Can you still be entrusted of diocese?
Oh, thank you. Medyo very sensitive yung mga tanong na yan. In fact, it's yung I was about to say kanina din Padre Luciano, yung mentality ang ating problema minsan, no? While we appreciate yung extraordinary form of the mass, it dapat hindi mamuoy yung yung idea na ito lang ang valid at yung ordinary form ay hindi valid. That's a very dangerous idea kasi, no? Na we have been trying to avoid. I think pinapaliwanag ng simbahan maigi na the two forms coexist, no? Hindi ibig sabihin ito lang ang form na dapat nating paniwalaan. So that's very clear to us. And it's very dangerous to say na hindi valid yung Novus Ordo and we should now go to that mentality is really very dangerous. And I am really now afraid of certain young people espousing this kind of mentality. Medyo mahirap po. From the point of view of doctrine and medyo mahirap na position yan. Medyo hindi yan something that we can be comfortable with as a church. Pangalawa po, in terms of the Latin masses, so I think yung SSPX maintain that only the Novus Ordo, the mass that was before the reform is valid. Yun ang kanilang contention eh. And from that, ang dami ng mga nanganak na mga disagreements with the Catholic faith. No? Ano pinagkaiba nila?
That will be the difference, basically, that they consider that that's the only valid form of the mass. And we consider that this is the extraordinary form valid and as valid as the vernacular. So we have two choices. That will be the difference, no, between the Latin Mass that is celebrated in a Catholic Church. It's the desire to keep this traditional Mass, but considering that the other also, if you go in English or in Tagalog, they are equally valid.
Yes.
So, I think it's the depth of the faith that you realize that the Eucharist is way beyond the words. Of course, historically it's wrong to consider that the Latin is the first Mass because the first one was in Aramaic. So it was in Aramaic, and then we had it in Hebrew, probably in Greek, probably in Latin. So the beginnings were very different. But I think it's more on a matter of faith that we believe that the Eucharist is way beyond the externals, the language you use, the instruments you use to sing, the vestment of the priest. We realize that the sacrament is a deeper mystery. And if we put the validity on the level of the externals, we are making a disrespect to the Eucharist.
May dalawang bagay po yung matter and form. Yun ang ating yun yung pinaka-heart ng sakramento for the validity. So the other rituals support as far as the keeping of the matter and form is in the form of celebration. So yun po yung ating ngayon. I would presume sino nagtanong kanina na yung si Jomil na yung since SSPX wants to preserve yung traditional Latin masses and which we really think is valid, no? And yung mga move ngayon of some priests to preserve it, I presume na walang pinagkaiba yan sila. So ganun. Tapos ang danger talaga diyan itong idea na since sede vacante tayo kasi the one who yung medyo sedevacantes yung sinasabi na sedevacant. May gano'n kasing mentality, no? So,
That's very dangerous.
it's
Yeah.
a very dangerous tawag dito mentality. And I hope
But
yung
my
mga
question,
kabataan natin,
canonically, not a lay person, not even a priest. That will be another question. But if a bishop declares that we are sede vacante, therefore he is not in communion with Pope Francis,
yes.
can he still be a functioning bishop entrusted with a diocese in the Catholic Church?
In fact, that is an open act of public act of
Defiance,
notorious
yes.
schism. Parang schism yung ganung class declaration eh. So once it happens, by law, the person commits an act that is punishable by excommunication, and he becomes irregular. Dami mga
The person, you mean the bishop or even a
the
Catholic?
the bishop.
How
Now
about the priest
person,
and Catholic?
yes, pwede rin, no? Open schism is also hindi lang yan sa cleric kundi pati sa lay faithful. Yung heresy, apostasy, and schism, no?
So
Public
if I'm a lay person and I post, for example, ito si Bergoglio ay impostor, wala tayong papa ngayon, etc. That kind of a statement.
That statement is particularly talaga dangerous and done consistently, done without remorse, or that it will eventually constitute into an act of notorious defect from the Pope, from the authority of the Holy Father, yung schism na ganyan. So mag-ingat-ingat lang ho kasi syempre hindi naman there are things in the Catholic Church we disagree, ano? Pero alam nyo, ang simbahan po natin is napakalawak. We cannot just stay on one side or on the other and on the middle. Ang dami po ating makikita na ang simbahan is very, very rich, that every form of charism, in fact, choice of right, is available to us. Hindi nga tayo pwedeng, nasa rights and obligations ng lay, na hindi pwedeng impose sa atin yung choice of life, way of life, or choice of right in the Catholic in the Church, no?
So for example, you are allowed to say, I really don't like Pope Francis. You are allowed to say, I really disagree with the decision of Pope Francis. I don't like his decision. I'm very angry with the Pope putting a sister as secretary of the Synod of Bishops. I'm very angry. You can be disgusted, angry, etc. But if you said he's not the Pope, that is a different level. That will be a separation, and that was yes.
Ibang genre of statement na yan. Yeah, we can disagree with what the Pope said, no? In fact, ngayon ko lang din ang Pope, binabasa ko yung kanyang mga statement. Dati parang hindi ko siya mahadong mag-gets, but reading his yung kanyang Let Us Dream, oh my God, ang ganda-ganda niya, ang ganda ng kanyang vision for the church. It's very compassionate, it's very loving, remaining in the heart of Jesus for parang ganun for the flock, for the sheep, no? So iba ang saka yung going to the margins, yun ang kanya talagang to the fringes, yun talagang kanyang yun ang gift niya sa simbahan eh. So we cannot just a church that is enamored by her own beauty, by her own liturgical rites. We have to go out after doing that. No? After celebrating our faith, let's go out. Yun ang sasabi ng Santo Papa. There's nothing that I don't agree with him about, but he is able to find to state in more contemporary manner better yung talagang totoong simbahan sa panahon ngayon.
Father, question of Anna. In the sacrament of matrimony, what is written in Canon Law, CCC, and stand of the Church na dapat po bang payagan ng virtual wedding? These are new realities, no? Kasi ngayon na everything is online. For example, the Holy See has been very clear that confession cannot be online. How about wedding?
Wala akong narinig na ganyan. I don't know saan galing yung idea na virtual wedding. Of course, kasi ang wedding, it is ang pinakamalaga sa wedding, di ba, ang minister dyan, yung mag-asawa eh. Ang firm dyan yung consent. Now, the consent must be enunciated in the presence of the one who received the consent, teacher, the official witness, yung pare, no, yung minister, yung pare. Ngayon, I have not experienced or seen any virtual wedding happening in the Catholic Church. Meron pa rin mga wedding nakatakip sa ng kanilang mga ganon. Merong
Yes, yes.
10 guests lang. Walang there's no such thing as virtual wedding. And if that happens, medyo malaking question talaga 'yan. Malaking
Yes.
question 'yan kung yan ay in terms of validity, yun ang tanong kasi diyan eh.
Yes. I think personally, I think this is a new era where the church has to think a lot and formulate what constitutes presence, no? Because the virtual world has changed, and so
Yes.
we with Father Jigs, we are not together in the same room. He is in his parish, I'm in my parish, but somehow we are present. You can see us, we can see each other. So it's a very fluid, no, the concept of presence. Pero in the sacraments so far require physical
Yes.
presence.
Wala pa
Physical
yan.
presence. So
wala pang virtual confession.
could it be that one day we go towards that, not necessarily physically present? Could be. But the idea of presence has to change. We have to develop that idea. Of course, this pandemic has helped us kasi like the mass, the virtual mass became very clear now that it's one form. But also, sa lahat po na nagsimba online, alam ninyo na it's not the same like being present.
Correct.
So, somehow we can feel that it's not the same.
Merong isang form ng Padre Luciano na sa simbahan. This is a practice in the church but not in the Philippines kasi it hindi to allowed ng law sa Pilipinas, yung proxy wedding.
Yes.
Yung one of the contractants is somewhere else, but the one who exchanges consent is a proxy. So, pero hindi, that's beside the point, but that's true, no? Hindi pa yan napag-iisip, hindi pa yan tanong sa simbahan. Wala pa rin ganyang klaseng happening sa simbahan ng virtual wedding.
Others may funeral, for example.
Yeah.
Okay. There is a final question here that I think is very important. What are the 10 official titles of the Pope? What are the 10 titles na binibigay?
Once the elect bishop becomes Pope of Rome, ito yung magiging title niya. No? He's called Holy Father. No? Ang pariho naman is Father, in the sense, spiritual father, father of community. Yan naman po ay galing kay St. Paul yan. He's also called Pontifex Maximus, the high priest. But actually, Pontifex literally means a builder, a builder of bridge. No, so
yes.
Supreme Pontiff, number 3. But because of his headship over the Universal Church, he's called the Roman Pontiff. He's because he belongs. He is the Bishop of the See of Rome. Ito, unlike this title, he's called Servant of the Servants of God. No, siya yung pinaka-abang alipin ng mga alipin ng Diyos. Parang while we see him as somebody who is upstairs, actually this title tells us that he is down below. Kaya si Pope Francis pinapakita talaga yung servanthood na ito when he washed the feet during Holy Thursday liturgy ng pinaka-mahihirap, yung mga marginalized na tao, because he is a servant of the servants of God. He's called the Vicar of Christ. Now, of course, Basically po, ang pare, di ba, acting in the person of Christ in persona Christi Capitis, and so is the Holy Father. He's also called the sovereign of the Vatican State kasi po, meron siyang jurisdiction of the Vatican State as its sovereign. Siya yung pinuno ng Vatican bilang isang one of the states, no, in the world. No? Of course, he is called the Bishop of Rome because he's the head of the Diocese of Rome. He's called the Primate of Italy. Ang primate po sabihin, siya yung head ng all the bishops in Italy. And finally, yung kanyang title na His Holiness. So, ano yung pinaka-common na ating na ano rito? Yung His Holiness. So, kaya Holy Father. But in correspondences, in initial sa letters na ating pinapadala sa kay Pope Francis, we call him His Holiness Francis, Pope, parang ganun. We don't say Holy Father Francis, Pontifex Maximus, Supreme Pontiff, hindi lang ho ganun. But yung formality that comes with the office of the Patron Ministry, meron siyang 10 title.
But siya, pag nakita po ninyo mga documents o di kaya yung mga nagpadala sa iyo ng papal blessing, etc., is Franciscus SSPP, Servant Sanctorum Pastor Pastorum, no? So he uses that as not Francis, all the Holy Fathers, no? They it's like the highest title is to be the servant of all. And that's a very beautiful title. And the shepherd of all the shepherds also.
Yeah, shepherd of the shepherds, PP.
But the most important title, I think, is Bishop of Rome. That's the key. That's the key to everything else. No?
Yes, Bishop of Rome. Kasi once he's elected, he assumes the see of Rome that has become vacant with the death of the Pope, or in the case of Benedict XVI, the resignation of the Pope.
But they come all together, Father. Meaning to say, for example, we cannot have a Pope, a Bishop of Rome, and then choose someone else to be the, let's say, the Primate of Italy, or to be the sovereign of the Vatican State. They come all together.
They come all together. Hindi siya po yung pwede mo siyang disentangle, hindi siya ganon. Kasi this is the structure of the Patron Ministry.
Okay. That's very, very good. I don't know how familiar you are. I just wanted to ask, when you compare the way of the Catholic organize themselves and, let's say, the Anglican, those who are closest to us will be the Anglican Church or the Orthodox Church. What are the main difference of the form of governance?
I think yung universality talaga ng simbahan. When we recognize one leader, I think the Anglican also does the same. Pero ang pagkakaalam ko within the Anglican Church, meron silang divisions eh. Tapos ang Anglican churches, para din sila mga confederations. Like the Anglican Church in another country, iba din ang head doon. So sa England, of course, is head ng Church of England. Actually, it's not even the Archbishop of Canterbury, but the Queen, something like that. Or the King of England, no? Sa atin hindi po. There's just only one head. And that's the Holy Father, the Supreme Pontiff, Pope Francis right now in Rome.
Yun ang kalakasan din ng Simbahan Katoliko, no?
Yes, in fact, that is really from our dogmatic theology. Ito talaga ay divinely constituted. Divinely constituted institute talaga ito. Ibig sabihin, for as long as First Church, it will remain that way. In order to preserve the Church of the Lord is founded.
Yes. But I was thinking about this, Father, this week, no? Kasi kamamatay si Brother Eli Soriano, no? Condolence to his church. And I was thinking, what would happen to a church where the ministry is so important?
Yes.
Because I realize the beauty of the Catholic Church is it's absolutely beyond the ministers. You can love and adore the Pope like John Paul II
The
was for
second, yeah.
everybody.
Well,
When
love
he,
talaga.
when he died, continue. The church continues immediately.
Oo.
There is no doubt at all. And we are very used to nag-resign, namatay, napalitan. Tuloy ang laban, no?
Yung continuity is assured eh. Yung perpetuity because of the office.
Yes,
It's
yes.
really the office, not the person that occupies the office. So perpetuity, yun ang isang bagay diyan po.
I think
Tama
that's
yun, no?
one of the greatest things of the Catholic Church.
Oo.
One of the greatest things of the Catholic Church, yeah. Oo. Okay. Sabi ni Father Abe, tama naman, bakit kailangan ng virtual wedding? Nakapunta nga sa Boracay, nakapunta sa palengke, sa malls, no? Tama. Ba't hindi ka attend? Yung imbitado, pwedeng umattend kayo online, no? Pero
Yeah,
wag
correct.
yung
Ganon.
yung mga imbitado, pero wag yung couple.
Correct.
Wag couple.
The live stream sa mga friends. Baka yun ang tanong kanina, no? Yung virtual wedding na ganon. And as far as the guests,
the weddings are no problem. Yeah,
yes, pero yung guests virtual, yun.
Yes.
But yung exchange of consent, that's another thing po.
Yes. No, there is dagdag dito. Sabi ni Ida, there is a proposed bill on virtual marriage. If Congress approve, will the Catholic Church accept?
Yan pala yung context niya.
I didn't know that, but I don't think for us presence is very important in all the sacraments. That's why you cannot go on online confession. That's why you cannot have the child baptized online. So, yung mga pwede manood, yung mga imbitado, etc. No? And also that's why when you have the Eucharist, you don't receive communion because you can watch the mass and you can pray with the mass, but that I cannot consecrate a host in your house. So kaya hindi po nating nagawa yun, no? So I cannot celebrate mass and then bawat isa sa inyo ay maglagay ng ostya sa sarili niyong bahay and it will be consecrated. No, it has to be present. So presence is very important. That's the backbone of our sacramental life, no? The real presence, tangible, signs,
sensible, and ano yan.
Pag nawala yun, mawala yung sacrament.
Sacramental,
Yes.
Sacramental system, yeah. That's correct.
And sabi dito ni Coren, that is one thing that I really like of being Catholic. So me too, the sacraments, and I realize now more and more the structure of the church, that is it's so beautiful na hindi nakadepende sa ministro. So we experience in Novaliches, no, nag-retire yung obispo.
Yeah.
Nagpalit ng obispo, tuloy-tuloy ang buhay. Hindi naman may konting adjustment, pero yung buhay ng simbahan parang hindi mo naramdaman eh. Parang tuloy-tuloy yun.
Correct.
Nagpalit kami ng parokya, tuloy-tuloy din yun. Same, no?
Hindi nakadepende sa amin. So yung struktura.
The church is identified with Christ, not with the minister.
That's
and sa ibang sekta o simbahan, talagang totally identified with the person. Kaya pag may problema, namatay, etc., yung tao, medyo naka-crumple yung church, no?
Even sa movement sa simbahan, di ba? Ibang mga movements, mga
charismatic
movement sa simbahan, nakadepende sa founder.
Sa tao.
Sa tao. Hindi siya nag-perpetuate kung hindi siya structure.
And oras na, but some other time we will need to talk yung charisma and structure. That's two different and important aspects of the church. Okay. Thank you very much. Sa susunod, itutuloy po natin. Ano ang pag-uusapan sa susunod? Because with this, we finish
Ano na? The internal ordering or structure of dioceses. Ayan.
Ayun, maganda. Naku,
Diocese.
maraming questions din dito. The
Oo.
internal structure of a diocese. Wow, very
Yes,
nice.
particular
All
church.
right, very nice. Thank you, Father, once again. Salamat din
Thank
sa
you.
inyo and we'll see you next week. God bless po.
See you po. God bless.